Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Lab Podcast. This is episode number 35-ish, 4-ish, something like that. We'll let you know next time for sure, but we'll just assume we're about 35 or so.
Ish.
So today, we are talking about all things, sad, I guess. So, the seasons are changing. A lot of people struggle around this time of year with the shorter days. You wake up, it's dark. You get home from work or the gym or whatever, and it's dark. There's just a lot of darkness. So, we want to talk about how to handle the darkness. But until then, Kel, how's it going? What's new?
Hey, it is okay. Um, today I'm very, it's been a very gray weekend for me. I was at a wedding last night, which was a lot of fun, but I'm feeling kind of blah, kind of in a brain foggy area, but pushing through. And this week, my Maddie's out of town, so it's just me and the dogs living that bachelor life. So we'll see what
Gonna
trouble we get into.
You gonna throw any parties? What are your
Ragers,
plans?
Ragers. Probably. So this is my first week where I have a set schedule. So I will only work at the gym on Saturdays. So I will be able to kind of like really live that entrepreneur life and hopefully set a new routine, which I'm very, very excited about. So
That's
that's
awesome.
kind of all I have going on. I'm very pumped about Monday for the first time in a while. So I
Mm.
think it'll be
Well,
good.
that's
I'm ready.
that's good. Looking forward to
How are you?
Mondays means you're doing something right. So
Yeah. How you been? What's new?
good. Let's see. Um, Still trying to get my knee fixed. No update on that yet. Still, my insurance denied my CT scan, so I finally found a good doctor. I'm gonna go in on Tuesday to see him while I wait for my insurance to clear, approve the CT scan because he wants to
Mhm.
do an ultrasound on my patella tendon because he wants to see if I'm even a candidate for PRP. Because if it's too large of a tear, then PRP isn't actually an option. So it's good that he's, actually knows what he's doing and not just going to make me fork out thousands of dollars with, you know, being
I
unsure.
guess.
So yeah, like he actually specializes in PRP, so he knows what he's doing. He knows what works and what doesn't. So I just trust him a lot more. I feel more comfortable with him, and he's
That's
he's
awesome.
more thorough. So now I just have to wait for my insurance to not be a dick. But
Good luck.
yeah, exactly. So I'm almost hitting my out of pocket max, and I feel like when you do that, they're like, yeah, you don't need this test, you know. And it's all just been spent on my knee, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, but I guess my biggest news would be that I just announced that I am part of Team Scooby Prep now, which
Hell
is
yeah.
probably pretty confusing for most people because it's not a lot of things change except for a label, essentially. So my coach, Jason Theobald, he formed his own coaching team, Scooby Prep, Team Scooby Prep. He's been in the business for like fucking ever.
Hmm.
So he's a wealth of knowledge, and I couldn't pass up the offer to learn more from him, be a part of his team of like some pretty high caliber coaches and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
So I felt honored and like I couldn't pass up that opportunity. So I am now part of Team Scooby Prep. And what that means is just, not a lot. I'm still coaching one on one coaching, doing all of the same things, just slight changes in package offerings and, like going more in depth in what I can offer. Uh, but yeah, it's a little, anxiety and provoking because change is always hard for me. It's exciting, but hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how that all goes. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations, man. I know you
Thanks.
had to make a big decision, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's a little scary because it's like you're not as much as in control. Like they take a part of your income, so you got to raise your prices and stuff like that. So it has its perks, it has its downsides, but you just gotta weigh the pros and cons, because coaching can get lonely sometimes, as you're probably discovering, because you
Yeah.
do it alone, and you have to make all the decisions alone, and there's not a lot of support. So I just felt like I needed to be a part of something, part of a team, have a mentor, and just take some stress off my shoulders.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sounds good. All right, so we should we roll over into our sad talk?
Yeah, let's talk about some depressing shit. It's my
Yup.
season.
All right, so according to the Google, seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, is affects what did it say? 3 million people in the U.S. per year. So it's very, very common. Um, do you feel like you get seasonal affective disorder?
I feel like not until after the holidays, like after New Year's, because then it's just winter with no fun. You're just like, there's no holidays, there's no like warm and fuzzy, let's bake kind of feelings. It's just you're in this weird purgatory between winter and spring, and it's just kind of gloomy and cold. But so I'd say that's where it usually does hit me right now. Not as much. So
Nice.
yeah.
That's
How
good.
about you?
I feel like I do. Ohio tends to get very gray in the winter, and so we don't get the sunshine to like even brighten it a little during the day. Um, I used to when I was leaving for work. I don't. My guess is that it's not going to be as bad as it normally is, just because I don't leave and not see the outside world until dark again. So I think working from home will be easier in that front for me. But I definitely do experience it here in Ohio in the nice gray overcast of all
Yeah,
winter.
we get more sun here, so it's probably a big reason too why it doesn't really hit me until like, January, February, because we still get sunshine pretty regularly, even when it's cold. It's not as gray. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, here especially if once there's snow on the ground, it just turns into like the same color from ground to sky, which is really sad. And it's like
dirty
basically the
snow.
color of this shirt. um, so I have here the essentially the symptoms. So I was just going to go through those. And I'm sure if you experience this or know that you have it, you'll notice them. But so it's just general feeling of depression, losing interest in things that you once used to like a lot, changes in appetite or weight, problems with sleep. You're either sluggish or agitated, very low energy, and some brain fog or difficulty concentrating. Also, oversleeping, overeating, and social withdrawal. So, all around, bummer.
Yeah, I guess I just have sad all the time.
Just sad all the time. Sad. Um, I noticed because there used to be these jokes all the time when with like my queer friends, especially like who when I was going out to bars and stuff, that everybody just hibernated in the winter, and I think some of it has to do with that seasonal affective disorder. That everybody
Yeah.
just kind of just withdrawing and being like, I'm just gonna be cozy on the couch.
hmm The couch gets like really easy to stay on, or the bed
So
gets really
easy.
easy to stay in because it's just cold and gloomy, and you're just like, I'm just gonna stay here. It's fine.
It's warm and cozy under these blankets. The dogs will be on top of me, and
Yes, yes, and
Mm.
trying to think of. I feel like sometimes it can even hit people in the summer when it's really really hot, because it's like too hot to go outside and actually enjoy the outdoors. So you're
That's
stuck
true.
inside where there is air conditioning, but then like you're not getting enough natural sunlight, so it can still kind of get to you, or your sleep could be disrupted if you don't have air conditioning. So it's like I don't think that it's just isolated to the winter seasons. I feel like it could
Yeah.
happen at any season depending on what you like. Some people love the gloomy shit and hate sunshine. So the
They're
vampires
called
out there,
vampires.
yeah, exactly. That's me sometimes. I think because I was born in January, I'm just like I'm here for the depressing shit. So it's my
Yeah,
life.
I know when I lived in Texas, it was like too hot to do anything outside, so like you went outside in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it was just like miserable. So
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
probably also has to play into where you're living. I could you ever live in one of those places that it never gets like it's the 11 hour or however like 20 hours of darkness?
No, it's not like Alaska. Isn't that how it
Alaska,
is?
and I think a lot of the northern hemisphere, like just up north, because I know
Yeah.
my friend in Sweden is also dealing with like 4 hours of sunshine.
Yeah, no,
There's
I
just no
wouldn't be able
way.
to do it.
There's
Yeah,
just no
like
way.
I could probably last maybe like one season of that, but after that I'd probably lose my mind. So like it would
Yeah.
be cool to experience just it's different, but probably not to live. Like just visit, just experience.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that and just like going about your day in the darkness. I just get so tied to wanting to go to sleep when it starts getting
Yeah.
dark out because I go to bed early already and it's just like, oh, it's dark. I guess it's bedtime.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be very weird. I also probably couldn't live somewhere, which sounds weird because I live in California, but we do have seasons up here in Northern California. But I couldn't live somewhere that didn't have seasons, and
No.
so it's more so like Southern California. It does get colder in the winter, but I wouldn't call it really a winter. Uh, but I feel like there just has to be some sort of change, or else I go a little nutty. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
like
agree.
I don't know. I've never really experienced a whole thing in Arizona or something, but I imagine it doesn't really get a lot of seasony type of change.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine just because it's so hot there all the time. I mean, even when I lived in Texas, it snowed though. Like, and I lived in southern Texas. Um, it was like the first time in 20 years, but still.
We kind of have like a similar thing in Northern California. Well, it does snow a lot, like Tahoe and stuff. And when I lived in Colfax, it snowed a few times when I lived up there, which was its own. I couldn't get out of my driveway, but I'm like
How much
people.
snow are we talking? Let me judge you.
Um, well, I lived like on a fucking mountain, and I
Mm,
drive a Fiesta, a Ford Fiesta, front
fair
wheel
enough.
drive. So judge away, because there's no way I was going down that thing. I could barely accelerate fast in the rain, let alone like a snowstorm. So, but it was like a foot. Like the
Okay,
first,
okay.
my power went out. Like it was enough to
Oh
make our power go
shit.
out. So that was really shitty because it was freezing. But I don't live in the snow areas at all anymore, so we're good.
I can't wait to the snow. I do like snow a lot, so I'm ready for that. But
How much does
um
it snow there? Sorry, we're just talking
oh,
about
no,
weather
you're
now.
fine.
So
Yeah, no. This is now a weather podcast actually.
it got too
It's
vulnerable. We just had to.
It depends. Like, I live in central Ohio, so like up north, like in the Cleveland area, it snows a lot. But that's because they're on the lake, and they get lake effect snow, so they get like a ton of snow. Um, we get I don't know, like if we got like a foot of snow, like once a year would be like typical.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's like 4 or 5 inches every time it snows, and it
Okay.
snows like every other week, I would say, in the wintertime. Once it gets cold enough. And I think it's pretty cold today. I think the high was only like in the 40s. So it just happened out of nowhere. This is how it always catches me off guard, no matter how long I've lived here. I'm like, oh shit, it
You're like it's
snowed.
winter. When did that happen?
Because
Oh
it
gosh.
was like last week, it was like in the 70s, and I'm like, what the fuck? It always
Mm,
happens like really dramatically. But
yeah.
I don't know. That's
Well,
what it
there.
does. Stupid.
So when you when you like if you struggle from sad, what do you feel like what are your symptoms that you experience the most? Is it like the loss of interest in things? Is it like fatigue? How would you say it impacts you?
I think for me, I get mostly just like the gray. Like it's not. It's just like meh. Everything's meh. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to get excited about anything. It's just like you just kind of want to just sit on the couch and watch TV. It's just a lot of I don't even know if it's like fatigue because I'm not really like tired. It's just very uninterested in anything.
Yeah.
That's usually what I feel like. Just like kind of like low energy. Just bummed out, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't. I think just because I'm so routined in everything, like the overeating thing doesn't happen to me, or the oversleeping thing, just because I get up at the same time every day, regardless of what happens. The dogs are trained um, on my schedule, so like if I'm not up at the normal time that I get wooed at, um, my golden retriever just like sits there and demands attention. Um, so like if I'm pretty usually able to stay within every one of my routines. It's just no extras is getting extra things are getting done. How about you? What do
Yeah,
you
I
feel
feel that.
like?
Yeah, I would say it does feel like fatigue to me. Like, movement doesn't sound as great, like going to the gym, stuff like that. There's something about the winter that makes that harder.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Even though, like once you do it and you get yourself there, it feels great. And just to get moving, it can kind of like make you realize, oh, like that wasn't so hard. I can do it. Like I wasn't even that tired.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I would say it's pretty similar where you just kind of feel meh about things and you would rather just like stay in your bed and cozy up with some Netflix and a hot beverage and just not move, just cozy sounds like the best option for everything. So anything outside of cozy, you're just like, nah, that's okay. But, life goes on. We got to do what we got to do. So I guess that's one thing we could be like, so how do we fight sad? How do we not fall victim to sad?
Yeah. So like to start, I wanted to just say so the causes, like the main causes, I was kind of just looking it up and it so it's twofold. From what I found, it's one is the lack of sunlight. So the lack of sunlight decreases the amount of serotonin we're gonna have that our body's like producing naturally. And that also is going to lead to a deficit of vitamin D, which is what we get from the sunshine. And then I also saw that we like people somehow produce too much melatonin when it's wintertime. So that's what's causing that like fatigue feeling, that sleepy feeling.
That
It's
makes
just that
sense.
we're overdoing it on the melatonin and not even in gummy form, just in life form, in
Just
the
your body's like
IRL.
dark.
Hibernate, just be a bear.
Right? It's like all signs point to just being a bear. That's all you need to do.
Just
Not the
eat a
gay
bunch of
bear kind,
food and
just
go to
bear.
sleep.
That
um,
would be really bad advice for a fitness podcast.
Yes, just be a bear. I mean, some people are rocking it. I mean, whatever floats your
True.
boat. Um, but I did see that like light therapy is supposed to help a lot. So that's just like getting one of those like sun lamps. And I guess cooking yourself in it. I'm not sure. Have you ever used one of those?
I haven't, but I have heard people buy them, especially with the short days because you can turn it on, and I'm sure it probably like stops your body from overproducing melatonin and
Yeah.
producing serotonin. So I can see how that would be helpful.
Yeah. I know Maddie has one that's her alarm clock, but I'm always up before it like turns on. So I just see it if I'm in the room for some reason after the fact. Um,
Yeah.
but she likes it and it helps. It's just like you set your alarm and it starts like it essentially does like a whole sunrise thing uh, based on
That's
what
awesome.
time you're trying to get up. So it like gradually gets brighter, and then it also will get dimmer
Huh.
towards the evening hours. So
That's
it
cool. That's
mimics
fancy.
everything. Yeah, it's very fancy.
Did she get it
Ex-
like on Amazon?
uh-huh, yeah.
Okay.
Most
I'm
things
gonna,
from
I'm
our
gonna look that up
household is
later.
from Amazon.
Yeah, same.
um, so what do you think? Like, how do you, I guess, battle the big sad in your life?
The big sad. Honestly, I just try to like keep my routine and rituals of things. So, uh, basically, I just keep following the same schedule, whether it's dark or not. I don't give myself the option of being like, oh, I'm tired. I'm not gonna do X, Y, Z today. Uh, so it's kind of in the same way where, although it makes you kind of feel like you don't want to move, you just want to cozy up in bed. Uh, I always find that movement wakes me up a little or makes me feel better, helps lift my mood or clears my head. So I would say that would be like my number one way to battle it out, but also just realizing that like yeah, the days are technically like shorter, but they're not. It's just the darkness part. Your day is, you have just as many hours as you did previously. So that's why it's just like I just continue doing the same shit every day. So then I don't notice really the seasons change as much, except for the temperature.
Yeah, I that makes sense. The whole time we talk about like darkness, all I hear is that Simon and Garfunkel song, "Hello, darkness, my old friend," and that's all that's playing in my head now. While you're
I
talking.
gotta. Now I gotta find that for our intro. And I'm just kidding.
Yeah. um, so I kind of do the same thing. Like I again just like really lean on that routine. And the kind of the way I explain it to my clients, I'm like, well, this was what we've been like building our routines for so long. That's why we focus so much on building that routine, is so that we can
Yeah,
lean on it when we don't want to, essentially. Um,
exactly.
because that's how self-discipline works. Like you have to build it when you're highly motivated, and then you can lean on it when you're not motivated. So that's just essentially the key to that. But
Yeah.
um and I don't know if this is something I just do, but like I kind of set smaller goals in the wintertime. So like, yeah, I have the same overarching major goals, but maybe set up smaller goals to kind of feed into those, so it's like smaller wins. Um, just so you can keep like not keep motivated, but it gives you that little serotonin boost when you hit it. So it
Hmm.
kind of just keeps you going and going and going. So it's something more to celebrate, just because I think sometimes it's harder to see the positives when it's just a bummer.
Yeah. No. Yeah. For sure.
So just be realistic, but maybe set more small goals and less medium to big goals, or just try to break them down a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think also that one of the major things to help is to continue to build community or connection. Um, with everybody is kind of like, well, I think it's kind of like twofold almost, because oh, excuse me, but everybody gets busier with holidays and shit, and like, so sometimes people will either be like way too overwhelmed because they're too busy, or because everybody else is busy, you get feeling lonely, and then
Hmm.
this depression kicks in, and it's just like doubles down and wanting to hibernate and kind of pulling away. So I think setting plans, especially if you like set plans a little bit further out, just to make sure you have that connections to your community still.
Yeah. For sure. That's another thing
Did
too.
that make
Is
sense, or was I rambling?
yeah. No. I was just thinking as you're mentioning you can get lonely. It's like another part of this is that if you if you don't have really like this sounds, if you don't have a family, everyone has a family, but like if you don't get along with your family, that
Yeah,
could be
you're not as
another
tight.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that could be another point of depression, just because you get lonely during the winter holidays and it's already dark, and I can definitely uh, understand that could contribute to a lot of people's, you know, sad. Uh, so, do you have any tips for like people who, maybe feel like an orphan, like they're like, I don't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and that's why I get sad.
No, I have two different suggestions. One is even if you're not going to a family, go to a friend's house, go to a friendsgiving, go to just kind of like reach out. I mean, I know I used to go to what did we call it? The Misfits Thanksgiving because I always when I worked in labs that were like open during the holidays, I would always volunteer to work. Um, because like my family's super small and super local, so like I'm like, well, let other people travel and who don't get to see their families often. So I would always volunteer to work and then go to like Misfits Thanksgivings, which were just like catch all friendsgivings essentially.
Yeah.
So kind of like talk around, see if that you can find anything in that. And if you can't, I know that there's almost always a shit ton of volunteer opportunities. And I've done that before too, where you just go and like help other people who are maybe less fortunate or um, just helping other people. I think is always a good way to cure that loneliness or at least fill that void a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, those are good, definitely good tips. Help you not to think about it so much, and then also feel like you're helping other people. So that's,
Yeah.
double whammy.
Yeah, absolutely. Building up that karma. um, uh,
Yes.
what else do we got here? Another one that I always really suggest to people is to focus on your self care, and not like spas and shit, but like something that actually fills your cup. So like do a little bit of introspection and figure out what that is. If it's journaling, if it's making sure that you're getting into your therapist, if it's um, I don't know, getting massages, whatever you fills your cup, that really helps you reset. Make sure you don't skimp out on that, especially when we're headed into this. I think it's still pretty early on for a lot of people. Like it's just starting to set in for a lot of people. So if you know you've been affected by it before, make sure you're really amping up these like preventatives, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah, like basically it's kind of like create your game plan. If you know this tends to smack you in the face every winter, uh, like you know yourself best. Look at previous years. What affected you the most? What do you think played the biggest role in how you felt? uh, try to make a game plan surrounding that. And then also I would say for my fellow introverts that or isolators, uh, if you don't want to go anywhere for holidays because you just like spending time by yourself by default, uh, I would say, like pretend that holiday is like your goddamn birthday and save something that you've been wanting to do. Like maybe you do just want to spend a whole day cozied up in bed watching Netflix because it's cold and dark and you just want to allow yourself to do that. And you're so busy and you're like, you know what? I don't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving. I'm just gonna fucking celebrate myself and eat a turkey on my own and in bed with my dog and whatever the fuck on Netflix. Like, it sounds like I'm planning this, but I'm not. But also, it sounds nice to me. But yeah, so like whatever you find most appealing. Like maybe volunteering or being around people sounds awful. Like I can totally understand that, but uh, save that day. Like do something that you've been putting off that you just haven't had time for that you really want to do. If that's rest, like just fucking take it. Uh, I think that's okay as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think setting your own traditions is also something that's really fun. I skipped one Christmas when I was living in Texas. I didn't go and hang out with anybody. I made up my own traditions, and that was kind of fun to do. And I forced all of my animals to be in it, and so that was nice.
Did you create a manger scene where they like the shepherds?
No, but I did do like portraits of me and the pets,
Oh,
like
no.
each individual one, and it was when I had my old cat, and I'm in the picture and I'm holding her, and she's smacking me in the face at the same time the camera went off because she did not like being held, and so I'm like, this is fitting. This is what I get.
You're like, God damn it, love me.
But I think tradition's fun and like ritual's important. So like even if it's just something on your own that's small, that's fine too. Like make yourself like a box of mashed potatoes if that's what you want. Just remember that like
Potatoes. Calories still count.
that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Mashed potatoes are my favorite part of any holiday meal.
Well, they are delicious, so that makes sense.
They're the best. So whatever it is, just make it your own and something that you can look forward to.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So do we have any kind of taking a detour from the holidays? Do you have any other like suggestions on how to cope with the big sad?
Yeah, well, I mean, nutrition is also still important. In the same way that we might be like low in vitamin D, you might think about supplementing with that, because most of the U.S. basically is low in vitamin D, anyways. But I mean, don't go crazy. Yes, you can OD on vitamin D, and it's not good. But like at the same time, chances of doing that are slim. So don't just eat a whole bottle. Like, be responsible. But you might look into supplementing with vitamin D if you feel like you need it. But eating a proper diet is also going to help. It does impact your moods. It does impact your mental state. So it's not something to just throw away and take lightly and be like, oh, I'm sad. I'm just eating cookies today. Goes back to
That's
self-care.
gonna make you sadder.
Exactly. Sugar, you're just going to crash and get acute diabetes. So, you need to still take care of yourself, like an adult, as that usual, self-care is also taking care of yourself, feeding yourself, hydrating. Make sure to stay hydrated in the winter. Yes, you still need to drink water, even though it's freezing. But, so it's basically just comes down to the basics. Make sure you're still doing what you need to do to take care of yourself.
Right. Absolutely. And I think also avoiding alcohol, just remember that is a depressant.
Yeah.
And you can harken back to our last episode if you want more information on that. But alcohol is depressant, and it's going to make it so much worse if you're already feeling depressed.
Yeah.
So I would consider staying away from alcohol if you know that is something that you deal with. Never want to double down. It's not too negative to make a positive situation. So just remember that, and then also focus. And I know this is gonna sound so shitty to anybody who's actually battling depression, but try to focus as much as you can on the wins, the small wins, and the positives that you can turn things to. Mindset is a lot of if it's not clinical or chemical, mindset will get you far. That whole fake it till you make it sometimes works. It sometimes doesn't. But like if you can like fake a happy mood at the beginning, it sometimes can trick you into like being happier through the day, or at least just not being a disaster. Sometimes.
Yeah.
And just remember, this isn't clinical advice or anything along those lines, but if you don't have like actual chemical depression, sometimes that will help sometimes. So
Yeah. I mean, and even if you do, it's kind of just a good example of what you tell yourself is pretty powerful. So if you're telling yourself all day that you're like really sad and depressed, then you're going to be really sad and depressed. So even if by default you are sad and depressed, you can tell yourself, you just like remind yourself of, I fucking hate when people tell me like, "Oh, be grateful." Like, think of what you're grateful for. Write a gratitude list, and yeah, but it works.
Yeah, it sadly
So
does. It makes you angry how much it works.
right, you're like, I'm so goddamn grateful for this fucking shit, but it works because, yeah, sometimes you just lose sight of what you do have to be grateful for, despite the depression. But maybe you can feel grateful for that somehow. Just some trickery in your brain. Uh, just kidding, don't do that. But yeah, so like the things you tell yourself are very powerful. So if you get up in the morning and you already are like, I fucking hate this day, I don't want to do anything, just try to reframe it. And I'm not gonna be like, reframe it so you're like, I don't have to do this. Anytime anyone says that, I'm like, shut the fuck up. But it's just like try to be just in a sense of the way that you talk to yourself. Don't insult yourself. Don't tell yourself you're dumb if you can't get yourself to do something. Like you mentioned, focus on the small wins. And so if you focus even on the small positives, you're building up momentum in just having an overall more positive mindset instead of being like, oh fuck, yesterday I ate 6 cookies. I might as well eat 6 today, but I'm also a failure because I ate 6 cookies, and like, so I'm just not gonna move either because I already blew it. Like, just be like, no, oh shit, I ate 6 cookies yesterday, but today I'm just gonna hop back on track, and I'm gonna try to get out for a walk, even though I don't feel like it. I'm gonna try my best, So, there's just different ways that you could talk and not just be like super negative about everything, and yeah, it impacts you in your soul.
Yeah, well, and it eventually it turns into one of those cycles of like what is it called when you get into like a self-fulfilling prophecy, like when you wake up and you're like, this is gonna be a shitty Monday, I just don't want to do it.
I've done
and
that
it's just
before.
yeah, and then you ruin it like by yourself.
Hmm.
And so like just remember as much as you can, put on some song that really pumps you up, or um one that's just goofy, like it's just so ridiculous. Like I really love Young Gravy currently because he's just so fucking ridiculous and says it's like goofy things. And so I'll put it on and I'll just sing along to it, and it lifts my spirits somehow. It's kind of like the same concept of like, when you hear that Sarah McLachlan song on it when you're watching TV and you're like, I know I'm gonna be sad, I better change this.
Yes.
Just don't watch, like, just change it. Just don't
Yeah.
listen to that. Just try to cut it out. We don't need any more reasons to be sad right now. Let's be honest.
That's
The
true.
world is in shambles. So what we want to do is just listen to goofy music and try to fake it. Like, right? Just
Yeah.
put a smile on your face and just fake it until you somehow convince yourself it's going to be okay. Because it's going to be
Yeah.
okay. Um, and if it's not, it's not going to be any better by keep telling yourself it's not okay. I don't know.
I mean, and plus
Clearly,
it's
we need
worth
Erica
like,
for this episode.
I right. I mean, it's worth also reminding yourself that like you've gotten through many seasons before that you felt probably pretty similar. So it's like even though it can suck, you have gotten through it, and maybe creating a game plan might help you get through it a little smoother each year as you learn what impacts you the most. But also, yeah, like what you consume, social media in general, that can also have an impact. So, like you said, listening to goofy music, or just knowing if, like, laughing. So watch some comedies. Don't watch really depressing shit if you're already feeling sad, unless you're me. Sometimes I like to torture myself just for fun. But also comedies, maybe
Shitty
maybe do
reality
an
television.
edible with a friend that makes you laugh. Like, that's the best medicine. So
Yeah. Well, and also there's like what was I gonna say? Oh, it's gone. That's what it was. One of my mentors said, right? She's like, right now, everybody is a winner because you've made it through every single hard thing you've never made it. You didn't think you were going to make it for. So you're really batting 1,000 right now. Like we haven't ever been destroyed by anything, not completely because we're still here, right? So if you just keep with that mindset, you're gonna get it. I mean, chances are, since you've made it through every single other time, you're gonna make it through this too. So just try your best to think with that logic brain and not that emotion brain. So even if I know it's helped me in the past because I sometimes will go like in an anxiety spiral, and so I'll write down logically what's happening, and then it lets me like. Sometimes it pulls me out. It doesn't always work. Let's be honest. It doesn't always work,
Yeah.
but sometimes if you can like logically like write down the facts of what you actually know is happening, it helps me. So I don't know. It's worth a
Yeah.
try.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Another thing to try is like, so there's comedy and then there's like sad movies, but you can also try watching something inspirational. Sometimes that does it for me. Like, even if, I mean, pretty much any like bodybuilding
Airbud 2,
Generation
probably.
Iron or Airbud 2. Yes. Mighty Ducks. Uh-huh. Yeah, we're watching
Yeah.
that. But maybe like Karate Kid. Yeah, so watching something that's inspiring usually does it for me. It gives me a little bit of like a motivation jump, which I was just thinking, oddly, I found Killer Sally kind of motivating. Is that weird?
Killer Sally bummed me out, man. I had to turn it off. It made me so sad.
I'm fucked up. I am the opposite. Like sometimes sad shit doesn't bum me out. I don't know.
I don't know. It bummed me out. I had to turn it off. But what and this isn't the healthiest thing to do, but like sometimes I'll get into the revenge thing and like be like, you know what? If I'm like really bummed out, I'll be like, I'm gonna fucking kill it. I'm just gonna start and like really go hardcore because I want to beat that guy who doesn't even know I exist or something, and it'll be like, I'm gonna show him. I'm gonna show them,
Yeah.
and they don't even like. So if that works for you, whatever kind of gets you amped up, I say in the winter time, just go for it because like one, you don't see people as often, so no one's gonna notice if you're being a weirdo. Two, I think it's worth trying just because everybody's so bummed out. Just go for it. Just go for whatever you think is gonna like. No, just don't mind whatever's. I'm really rambling now, but like just go for whatever weird thing that you want to try in the wintertime because like chances are it'll either work or no one will notice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like a personal journey, right? You know, it's just
Yeah.
between you and you of what works, what doesn't. I'm still laughing that it's just like, so our biggest piece of advice here is to create false competition with someone you don't even know. I think it's pretty, but I
Yeah.
do that shit
I do it all the time. Hey, it's worked for us so far.
I mean, yes. So there's something there. There's something there. Um, but yeah. Any other tips you can think of? I'm trying to think of like things that I tend to do, even if it's subconscious.
No, I mean, I try to get out in the sun if there is a sunny day. Like I know, like I said, in Ohio, it doesn't always happen very often. So whenever it does have sun, I try really hard to take advantage of it and soak up that vitamin D while it's available in natural form. So that's one thing I do.
Yeah, yeah. I feel
Board
like you might have.
games, a lot of board games in the winter.
It's well, like anything that makes you laugh or have fun with like friends, I feel like is always a plus. Um, but you have to have friends first. So if you don't if you don't have friends, you can play online with people. You
Online
know,
friends, online friends
that's an
count.
option these days. So maybe you're a gamer. Maybe you want to game with someone online.
There you go.
Just don't get addicted. That's its own beast. So be careful. Everything has a risk, you know? Like
Yeah,
too much of anything is bad.
moderation
Even
for
too much
everything.
sun, you know?
Yeah, that's what sunburns are.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Oh
uh,
shit. Do
Speaking
you
of
have any?
like,
Oh,
did you finish Killer Sally? Sorry, I
no, I
just
did
need
not.
to.
I got
Oh,
bummed
okay,
out. I made it
man, you got
through the end of episode 2.
that's it. Okay, never mind. I was gonna ask like because I feel like after episode 2, they have a plot twist. Uh, so they kind of show you two sides, but they don't do that until about that episode, I believe. Um, and so I was gonna ask your opinion. Like, do you think it was self-defense, or do you think she just was like, "You should die, motherfucker"?
I don't know. I might try it again sometime this week, but so far I'm only on episode 3.
Okay.
So
Well,
we'll see.
there is a
I
plot
haven't
twist
closed the
coming
door
up.
completely. So
Okay. Maybe if you finish it, then we can get your opinion next week.
okay, deal.
I just like true crime and bodybuilding. It was just like this perfect blend. I feel like someone just made it for me, and I was just like, yes, this is the best. Like I didn't even hear about it. It just showed up on Netflix, and I clicked on it, and I was just fascinated, and I couldn't stop watching it. But I mean, I
Yeah,
could get how it could bum you out, especially the first couple episodes, because you're like, why the fuck is she like in jail? But yeah.
I was just bummed out because it feels very like a like two kids that were raised in like really shitty environments and
Yeah.
tried their best to make it out of there, and their emotional scars got the best of them, and that's what really bummed me out.
Yeah.
And
I
then
feel
there
like
was
it
those
was
little kids, like there was little kids in it,
I
and
know.
they got
Yeah.
fucked over, and it just was
Yeah.
bummer. It was just such a bummer.
There were just definitely like some intense moments, but I love those types of shows that kind of put you in the juror seat to like decide like what do you
Yeah.
think, like Making a Murderer. I love that shit. Like basically any type of show or Evil Genius or like that puts you in that seat of who do you think it like do you think this person killed them? Like they're basically kind of unsolved mysteries still. Like even if
Mhm.
someone's been convicted, there's still this question: were they convicted properly? Like was the evidence planted? Is there corruption? Were they wrongfully convicted? I just for some reason like love that shit, but it also terrifies me because I'm like, oh my god, I could end up in jail for something I didn't do. I'm gonna find myself a jail husband real quick for protection.
Well, that's what like I'm sure you have the same thought when you're going through an airport. Like, oh fuck, do I have a gun in my pocket? I don't have a gun. I've never even held a gun. But I'm like, why would I have a gun in my pocket? But now when I'm in the TSA line, I probably have one.
Someone planted on me. I just don't know it. Maybe it's in my shoe. No, I don't feel anything. We're good. Yeah, definitely don't plan to go to jail. But yeah, I felt like it was almost a little bit, almost not anti-bodybuilding, but I feel like they put a little too much on the steroid use because like
Oh,
once
I
you're an
thought so, too.
asshole, you're just an asshole by default. It's not like the steroids itself are gonna make someone an asshole. So I was like, that's a bit of a sellout. Like, of course, that could be a contributing factor, but I felt like they put a little too much emphasis on that. So like the general public still gonna have this like stigma around, oh my god, like those kill people, and it's like
Yeah.
it was just a very
100%.
toxic environment to begin with. I think they both had a lot of issues, which unfortunately led to what occurred. But you haven't finished watching it yet, so I don't want to give it away.
Yeah, I mean, I probably will finish it eventually. It takes me a couple days to recover, and I can't binge it like I binge most shows. So,
I binged it. Oops.
you're tougher man than I. You're a tougher
Nah,
man
I'm
than
I'm just a little fucked in the head. It's true. I watch some fucked up shit. So I mean, it's just I'm a Capricorn. Apparently, we like being depressed. So so I've been told. I don't follow astrology, but I've been told that Capricorns are just that type of person.
I have no idea.
Well,
All right. Do you have
we
anything
should
else?
Probably. I don't think so. I've just been going off on tangents this whole time, so I apologize.
Well, I think our viewer or our listeners are used to it. Okay,
That's
so
true.
I will go into the power talk if you are ready.
Sweet, let's do it.
Cool. All right, so I have a goals related power talk today, just because I said something about making small goals for the winter. So the quote is from Earl Nightingale, and it is, "People with goals succeed because they know where they're going." And I think that's really important going into the winter, just because everybody starts flailing and like panicking. And I've already had like 5 people start freaking out about Thanksgiving for 5 clients. So I just want to say, like, so just set your goal and keep pointed there. Use it as your North Star and focus in on it. All we need to do is move through there and not go off track, or not go crazy with the plan. So just focus on what you can do in that given day. Give yourself those break on those holidays, those specific days, and then just keep on trucking away. Nothing's new, nothing changes. We've made it through every other holiday season, and it's just a couple weeks, so we can get this.
Yes.
We got this. Just focus on your goals and keep moving forward. The people with goals succeed because they know where they're going. So that's what I have
Yes.
for us today.
Good talk. I like it.
Don't panic.
Main takeaway: don't panic.
Don't panic. All right. Well, until next time, friends.
Yes. Oh, but we do want to mention, we always forget to mention just for people to sign up for our email list.
Oh, yes.
Because we have a lot of exciting things coming. We're building. We will talk about it more as it develops. But if you want to get all the latest news first, the best place to get it is by signing up for our email list. And we do have a website now. Is it www.yourlabfit.com? Is that? I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Okay, yeah. So www.yourfitlab.com is our website. So once again, www.yourfitlab.com. I will put that in the description as well. But please do visit our website and give us your email address so we can harass. No, I'm just kidding. We won't do that. We will not harass you. I promise. We don't have time to harass you. We just want to give you the latest news about the lab and what is developing because we're excited about it. And we want you to know and keep you in the loop. So, yeah, that's it.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, sign up for the email list so you can stay on top of
Yes.
everything. All right.
Yes.
And now, until next time.
Peace out.
Peace out.